straight to our top story this evening, because GST, it looks like, is one step closer to reality. After a meeting of the Empowered Committee in Kolkata of the finance ministers there, the Union Finance Minister Jayalalithaa said that all states except Tamil Nadu have come on board and the all-important bill will be passed in the monsoon session of Parliament. Just to remind our viewers here, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalithaa met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi today and is learnt to have handed over her list of demands to the Prime Minister. Jayalalithaa said that the most contentious issues like the revenue neutral rate and dual control will be dealt by the Empowered Committee, even as the states have decided against a cap on the GST rate. The big breakthrough in India's most ambitious indirect tax reform and its impact on India Inc. and the broader economy is a top story right here on India Tonight.
Not one, not two, but 22 state finance ministers met to thrash out the GST, India's most ambitious tax reform, all the way in Kolkata earlier today. And it looks like the GST is indeed now in its last lap.
Virtually every state has supported the idea of GST.
But let a confident BJP with its show of strength not distract you. There is still a long way to go. Jayalalithaa with her 16 MPs is still not on board.
There is one state which has said that even though they have reservations on the GST, but they have how to make it implementable from their point of view, that is the state of Tamil Nadu. They have offered a few suggestions.
But one thing is certain, there will be no cap on the GST rate in the constitution. States to handle GST of turnover of up to 1.5 crore rupees. Dual centre-state supervision on turnover of greater than 1.5 crore. Amit Mitra panel to decide revenue neutral rate by July. Remember, the Congress party has raised 3 demands about dropping an additional levy, putting a cap in constitution, and about dispute resolution panel to resolve differences. So while 1% additional levy will go, there won't be any cap on rate. And dispute resolution, the last bastion of the Congress's opposition, will be addressed with a new committee formed to decide what the resolution mechanism might be. The states finally gave the much-awaited nod to the model GST law, which sets out the key rules of business for both the centre and the state GST laws. But the devil lies in the details. The issue of dual control remains a huge bone of contention, with both centre and states vying for greater control to administer the new tax. The states brought up fears of revenue losses with the massive gulf between the 15% revenue neutral rate proposed by Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramaniam and the 27% suggested by NIPFP, leading the committee to ask for a relook. Even as the centre looks to pass the constitutional amendment bill in the coming session of Parliament, there are 3 more bills that remains to be passed. And then the states have to ratify too. It is clearly a long road ahead. Gaurang Sinha, ET Now, Kolkata.
All states supported the GST today. Centre will not have control up to 1.5 crores. This is a big achievement of the meeting. The second important element in all of this is the question of revenue neutral rate. On that question, what should be that magic number? 17% has been suggested by the the advisor to the finance minister, whereas 26.5% has been suggested by a research institute.
This shows the confidence among the finance ministers that the constitutional amendment bill in the Rajya Sabha will get approved. Regarding the issues which most of the ministers were concerned was the dual control, because that if you want a smooth passage, then the dealers should be assessed by a single authority. So we are trying to find out a way out by which how division of work can take place.
There is no issue on dual levies. It's more about dual control.
Correct.
So what we have said that to ensure that the trader is not harassed, up to 1.5 crore, threshold.
Yeah.
The state should be the only one who should assess
Correct.
and adjudicate on those matters.
We do have Gaurang Sinha and Krishanu Mukherjee both joining in on the show for more details on the all-important GST bill. Gaurang, has a consensus finally emerged, and what can we expect in the monsoon session? Could GST, the Constitution Amendment Bill, at least be a reality to begin with?
Well, to answer that question, you've really got to look at two key aspects: the political will along with sound economic policy making. Now, you've got the political aspect of it, the GST Constitutional Amendment Bill, three demands being raised by the Congress of removing the 1% additional tax, creating a dispute resolution mechanism, and of course, making sure that as far as the GST rate is concerned, there's no cap. Now, two of those demands, of course, have been taken up in all seriousness. You've got the 1% additional duty, which is being dropped by the centre as we are hearing. The other aspect, of course, is the dispute resolution, and what we've heard today at the Empowered Committee meeting is that the government is certainly looking, along with the Empowered Committee, to set up a dispute resolution sort of a mechanism which could, of course, make sure that the Congress is on board with it. The final demand, of course, we've seen coming in from the Congress, which was to create a constitutional cap, has been categorically rejected by the states, and it will be foolish on the part of the opposition now to pursue that one demand. Which brings us to the question of economic policy making. Now, there's two aspects which have to be addressed before we can really say that the issues in GST have been ironed out. You've got the issue of the revenue neutral rate. There are concerns that with the two rates of 15.5% to 27% being considered, there could perhaps be a risk of revenue losses. How accurate are these numbers? And that's, of course, something which the committee will have to look at, along with the other major question of who controls the tax system, the centre or the states, or an incredibly delicate balance of the two. So it's really going to be a whole host of these questions, which bring us to the final question: are we any closer to the GST? Of course, it's been a long road getting this far, and at this point, of course, when the GST Empowered Committee meets next month, it will have to, of course, address these questions, take them up, but certainly with the right amount of political will, with the right economic policy making, which we can perhaps see coming in with the centre and states at the discussion table. Yes, of course, we could hope that the GST could be a reality as far as 1st of April 2017 is concerned. Back to you.
All right, the story was unfolding as much as in Kolkata as it was in New Delhi, and I've got Krishanu Mukherjee, who was tracking the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister all day today, and she was here in Delhi. Tamil Nadu, of course, is not on board, and Jayalalithaa did meet Prime Minister Modi earlier today in the capital. Sources say GST was high on that agenda. Will she actually come out and support the NDA as they would like her to? Krishanu?
Well, Supriya, it's a tightrope walk for the government at the current moment, because it's not clear. The Tamil Nadu government, they have sent a list of oppositions that they have towards the GST. A 29-point agenda was discussed with Prime Minister Narendra Modi today when Chief Minister Jayalalithaa met him in the morning, and after which she also met Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. So a few of the objections that they have raised are one, that they have said that the GST will take away.
All right, there seems to be an audio trouble with Krishanu's link there, but thank you very much, Krishanu Mukherjee and Gaurang Sinha, for putting it all in perspective. But is the GST done in the final lap, as we've been pointing out? Will the government and the opposition finally meet on common ground, and will this crucial legislation meet its April 2017 deadline? Let's get you a host of expert opinion from A-Star panel that we had earlier in the day today.
Political moves that have been made by the finance minister in the last 2 days to creating a larger, broader based consensus for the GST bill is something very positive, and I'm hopeful, I'm very, very hopeful that in the monsoon session this bill would pass, even if it is continuing to be inexplicably opposed by the Congress.
Definitely say it's a step closer, because you had the Empowered Committee meeting after a long hiatus under the chairmanship of Mr. Amit Mitra after he was elected as the chairman. Fundamentally, what happened today? You had a record attendance of states and union territories. All the facts and contentious issues were put on the table, and it appears that there is a consensus except Tamil Nadu, which has a few reservations. So fundamentally what the finance minister is trying to do is that other than the parlays that they may be holding on a one-on-one with either the main opposition party or the other opposition party, he is actually brought it to the right forum. This is the real forum in our federal structure.
You can't have a tax rate cap on the constitution, especially a tax as economy sensitive as a GST. Secondly, if we look around and we try to find out if there are similar kind of caps, there are not too many economies which actually have this kind of a cap enshrined. And very frankly, and I'll quote what the finance minister himself said, justifying why he's resisting having a rate put in the constitution itself. And very rightly so. If tomorrow the government of the day decides to charge an astronomically high indirect tax, the trade and industry, along with the common man, will vote the government out of power. So there's a inbuilt political hesitancy to have a astronomically high indirect tax levy. Secondly, if you're looking at having this kind of a structure, you can always bring in a cap by insertion in the act itself, which is where the control mechanisms are there.
Right.
And tomorrow, if you want to change the rate by simple majority, the government should be empowered to do so. So the adequate checks and balances already exist.
Tamil Nadu has been, against it. It's the only state which has clearly not come on board because it's a producing state. So one of the three major producing states. As far as the modification suggested is concerned, no, there has to be some alternative mechanism because in the long run the producing states are going to benefit. So it's a little short term so the balance is in the short term really the consuming states will do better, so there is no opposition from them. But states like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra should understand that overall, given that they have such a high proportion of manufacturing production, they will eventually benefit.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNOWlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.